You are in the Warriors Huddle with me, Bram, and with me, per usual, my master of all things video and sound, Maxime.
How's it going?
Maxime, it's going well, kind of weird. So, look, fired up, dude. Game 7, less than 24 hours away. Two of my favorite words in the sports universe put together in Game 7. But also weird because I'm in Tahoe this week, staying at a friend's house. June, for those who may be listening to this pod late or something, and it is fucking snowing, what is just like blowing my mind. Like, I don't know, like, is this global warming? Like, I don't know what it means. It feels like the world might be ending. We were on a hike and it's like literally started to snow, and my wife and I refused to accept it and argued about whether or not the white stuff falling from the sky was in fact snow. One of us said it was pollen inexplicably. So, yeah, dude, I'm doing okay, but weird times.
I like that you said one of us said it was pollen, and first I was like, oh, that's obviously Bram, and then I'm like, we're just gonna leave that aside, I guess, because clearly Bram didn't want to bust anybody out.
Yeah, I'm sure. Let's just let the record reflect that I'm terrified of my wife, and we'll leave it right there. We've got a ton of prediction questions to jump into here, man. Really try to figure out how the hell Game 7 is going to play out. But let's open it up with an open-ended type of question. Let's call it the glass half fuck yes. Yeah, we've got Game 7 coming. Game 7s, dude. Have you ever been to one? What are the upsides? Like, what's your favorite part about a good Game 7?
I wish I'd been to a game seven. Somebody once told me that, like, in this day and age, especially in California, having a third kid is just like a sign of conspicuous consumption. And I feel like that's the same thing with game seven. Now, I'm not judging by any stretch of the imagination, but though I've been to playoff games, I've never been to a game seven because holy shit, I could never afford it even if I wanted to.
I, I had a friend when they went to 3. They told me they used basketball terms. So when we first had a kid, obviously 2 parents, 1 kid, we played zone and we had them covered, no problem. Then we had a second one, and we had to go man to man. It was what it was. And then when we had 3, we had to go back to fucking zone, and they knew how to attack it. They said it was impossible. Like, there's no way we could fucking keep it up and running. For me, what's my favorite part about a game 7? My favorite part about a game 7 is that you don't have to go to get excited for it. So I've been to one. Never been to one in hoop. I went to at least one in baseball. I was at the Game 7 for the Giants in the NLCS, where it ended up pouring rain. It was a really cool experience. But the thing that speaks to me so much about Game 7s in general is that they're like big to-dos, big happenings, things that I'm fired up for, even if it's not my team. So I don't really give a shit about the Pacers, and I don't give a fuck about the Thunder. But now that they're set for a Game 7, I'm going to be planning my entire Sunday around it. Like, there's like things that can dominate your life. Like, if I have a flight, I'm my entire day is surrounded about how am I going to make that flight, or like a surprise birthday party. Same kind of deal. I spend the whole week thinking about it and getting ready for it. Game 7s are like that, even when my team's not in it. So man, it feels like this gift from the sporting gods. Like, I didn't think this series was going to be anything, and now that we have a Game 7, let's go.
I mean, I hear you. I agree with you completely. It's so exciting, and you can see the whole basketball world getting juiced about it, especially because the Pacers are one game away from a huge underdog story. And everybody loves that. Like we said before, I think I'm a little bit scarred because of the 2016 Game 7. And I saw a stat. There's something like there have been 19 or 17 Game 7s in the history of the NBA Finals. And up until the last 6 in the play-by-play era, it's by and large been the team that did not force Game 7 that wins Game 7, right? So in this case, it would be the Pacers.
Yep.
Statistically are more likely. And then in the past 6, 5 out of the 6 have been the ones that forced the Game 7. I'm like, yeah, I remember 2016. Thanks a lot. So definitely some PTSD, and I don't know exactly how I feel about this as a new converted Pacers fan.
Are you rooting for them? So we're going to
I
go
am.
through predictions up here next. Yeah. That's what you hope happens tomorrow. Like, you are on board. Let's go. Just because you like the team, or you like the underdog story?
Oh, because I like the team. I also suspect that Oklahoma City. I mean, I suspected they were going to win this one. I suspected there might have been a sweep. So I feel like they're going to be around for a while, and I kind of like the idea that you got to earn your stripes a little bit. These guys are so young. They've got They're talking about Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen being 2 years older than when Chet and Shea are right now. It's the type of thing. It's like, whoa, there's some potential for some unprecedented dominance. And I'm like, all right, can we learn a lesson a little bit? I feel like the documentary in 2035 about the Oklahoma City Thunder dominating the past decade is going to be so much more interesting if they had to lose one first.
Am I wrong to say that Halliburton is crazy annoying? Like, let me very good at basketball. This has been his coming out party, rightfully so. I've watched all the game winners. Like, I know what he's done. This isn't a shot at his ascendance to obvious superstardom. But I just find his affect on the court, the way that he celebrates, is confidence, which if I was rooting for the Pacers, I would want him to have this amount of confidence. But it's almost like the confidence that Pods brings to the floor, but, times a million. Like, I just find him annoying, which is a long way of saying in any other circumstance, dude, I'd be rooting for the underdog. Like, of course, like OKC has been this juggernaut the whole fucking year. This is Rocky. This is Drago being beaten. And I'm still not sure I'm rooting for the Pacers because of how annoyed I am by Halliburton. So do you find him annoying at all? Is it just me? Like, wait, help me through this, man. Do I need therapy or am I onto something here?
To me, the game winners have been the therapy. Because I hear you. Right? I find some of his antics, especially off court, a little bit annoying. He comes across as the type of nerd that you wouldn't want to hang out with.
Yes.
But then at the same time, like the potency on court, it makes me feel like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna leave this aside because at the same time, I'm looking at, frankly, feeling a little bit old watching these guys more off court than on court. But this is the way they interact with social media and engage with the world is so foreign to me.
Yep.
And the embeddedness, the fact that they basically recognize themselves as walking memes. Like, I said that sentence. I don't really know what it means. I just said that, So it's all a little bit terrifying to me. And so I'm kind of willing to compartmentalize a little bit more what's going on the court versus what's off the court. And Halliburton's on-court product is just so riveting.
Here's how fucking old school I am. I watch him and he reminds me of Stefan Urkel from Family Matters. Like, the entire thing where, like, I get that he's playing really well, but I refuse to acknowledge that you're cool in any way. So it is what it is. Maybe I'm being the crazy one. Let's jump to our predictions, man. So we got a game 7. We got to start dropping some predictions. As I'm sure you know, Matty Stats is out there listening to all of them. He will let us know which one of us was more correct more of the time. Here's our first. Maxime, who will have more steals in game 7? TJ McConnell or Alex Caruso?
Oh,
and
man.
Add into your answer who you find more annoying too between those two players.
I'm biased because my immediate thought was, oh, Caruso annoys me more. And then now I'm realizing maybe that's just because I don't want to admit that I really like the Pacers. Did you see TJ McConnell's dad join the post game? That kind of annoyed me too, frankly. I feel, he's like, oh, I got a kid in the NBA and the WNBA. Like, I'm living the dream. I'm like, yeah, well, fuck you, man.
I didn't see that he joined the post game, and that kills me because down the way here, I'm going to ask you for a random prediction. And my random prediction was going to be that TJ McConnell's dad got interviewed. So fuck, dude. Yeah, it turns out it wasn't a prediction at all. Maybe I did see it, and I'm just trying to pretend like I came up with that in some way.
Maybe that snow isn't actually just frozen ice, and there's actually something more insidious in there that's warping your mind.
It could happen also in updating the previous story of am I being crazy about Halliburton being annoying? When I asked you, who do you find is more annoying between McConnell and Caruso? Internally, I thought it's Halliburton. So yes, dude, I am crazy. and I do have some real hatred in here, and I'm not sure why.
I just gave you my bias for the Pacers. I'll give you my bias for the Thunder as I say that it's going to be Caruso. I understand that Carlisle is an incredible coach and is going to have some tricks up his sleeves, but Caruso is seasoned, and these guys ought to be the more talented roster, which means that Caruso has less work to do overall and can sort of find more of the seams to make the steals. So I want it to be, I feel like if it is McConnell, that's a more fun game 7, right? The way that he's making those steals off the inbound passes, he's very creative, whereas Caruso is more of like a surgeon. They're both fantastic to watch. I'm splitting hairs here, but I think ultimately it goes down to Caruso because I just think that there's more levers that Oklahoma City is capable of pulling throughout the game.
so to firmly make this is with our head, not our heart. Yeah.
Mm.
What we're doing here is if we had to bet something significant to us, what would we bet on this? If I had to bet something significant, it's Caruso. So go back in time when they decided to trade for Caruso. And I mean, we now know that Giddey has really found himself, like that trade ended up being a lot less one-sided than we thought it would be. And the reason that they brought in Alex Caruso is specifically for game 7 steals. I mean, I guess not game 7 specific, but like it's his defensive impact. It would be this game. And so, if I had to count on something, it would be Caruso. Other side to this is I think he gets more minutes. So, if I had to bet something, it'd be Caruso. Who do I find more annoying? Definitely fucking TJ McConnell between the two of them. And I hate Caruso. So that is a real underline on TJ and his. Who has a higher ultimate total? Here's why I'm phrasing it that way. It's SGA's points or Halliburton's points, rebounds, and assists. To give you a sense, Underdog thinks it will be SGA. So Underdog has the over-under on his points at 32.5, and Halliburton's combined points, rebounds, and assists at 27.5. I'm going SGA. I think we're getting more than a 40 ball from Shea in this. So even though it's all 3 categories, I think this kind of solidifies the MVP and the year he's having. I'm going that way.
That makes sense to me too. I just saw SGA talking about, his Zen master mindset, right? Don't get too high, don't get too low. I feel like, if I'm reading tea leaves or whatever, which is a little bit of an unfair thing to do because I don't actually know these guys and their meme culture, but it does feel like there's a little bit more of a centeredness, which would play better in a game 7 in general. Again, my heart wants it to be Halliburton because that's just way more fun, but you're absolutely right. SGA is a deserving MVP, and I think he is aware that he needs to sort of cement this legacy, and it just means so much more to be both the MVP and the NBA champion in the same season.
Have you ever done any like tea leaf reading or fortune telling shit? I could see you having like been to a medium or something like that. Anywhere in your life, anything go down like that?
No, but I've always wanted to since watching that Harry Potter movie where they went up into the little sky castle thing and
sure.
Spire and then like read some tea leaves. It's like, oh, that sounds sick.
Would you go? Like if you had a friend, like if you guys were drinking one day and the guy's like, oh, actually, this is something I do. Would you like me to tell your future? Would you say yes to that?
Are you asking me if I'm threatened to buy this? Yeah.
I'm so afraid of it. I 1,000% would not do that shit. There's no fucking way. And then even when they just told me, I would hate them for telling me because then I'd feel guilty for not like doing it, but I wouldn't want to know. It'd be a whole thing.
They could be scary, and then plus you have to drink the tea. Like, what if it's some nasty ass tea? I think there's some dangers entering into that world for sure.
All right. Our next over under 25 amount of Indiana fans we see in the building for game 7.
25? Shit.
Yeah. I mean, have you seen how fucking tight in that last game, there was probably that we could see. This isn't going to be real total. We're not going to get what the doors or what the gate reflects. But on the screen in game 6, you could see like 6 or 7 of the OKC fans down because they had different color shirts. But the rest of that place was fucking whitewashed. So what do you think? Do you think will we see more than 25 in Oklahoma City's fans?
I mean, this finals has been as much a fan off as it has been on the court in terms of like these arenas showing out for their teams. I feel like you talked about whitewash. I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't see. It was so blinding when we were in Oklahoma City for game 5. So shit, I mean, I guess if you're just putting it at 6 or 7 for the Pacers, I wasn't. I'm going to take the under there. I don't think there's a lot that Oklahoma City is doing to make it difficult for Indiana fans to get into the building. So,
yeah, there was a story a while back that we never covered, but I was really entertained by it, that they put up what was called a geo fence. If you wanted to buy tickets online, you had to be from the zip code within like 50 miles of the stadium. And if you were not within that 50 miles, then the website would not sell you tickets. People obviously found ways around it. I mean, you couldn't stop like personal sales, but just the idea that the team did it, I think I like. I don't know. I think I like the concept behind it, like trying as hard as you can to give your team a giant advantage. But you're also kind of subverting history. Like forever that it's who if other fans were in your building, it was what it was. You should have done better to fucking keep them out without some kind of digital protection. So yeah, I'm gonna say I don't like it now, having had a chance to think about it. It's the snow.
It's the snow.
I'll change the number. I'm going to put it at 10. Over under minutes that crowd sits down, because if memory serves, the last time we were in Oklahoma City, they stood the entire fucking game.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I would put the under on 10 seconds.
Yeah. I think unfortunately you're right. All right, time for the random prediction. You've already stolen my TJ McConnell's dad gets interviewed, so I'll still go first. Here's what I'll say. I think someone not named Siakam or Halliburton is going to lead the Pacers in scoring in this game.
Whoa. That's interesting. So who would that be for you?
Maybe Nembhard. I think they're going to maybe Benedict Mathurin has some kind of a huge breakout game, but I think there's going to be I think they'll lead the team in scores.
Yeah, interesting. Or like Obi Toppin goes off for like 10 threes and
his competency has been so frustrating for me.
Crazy.
He was on my fantasy team all year, and he was like one of those dudes where like I cut and then brought back on and then cut and then brought back on. He did nothing all fucking year, and now just unstoppable.
Terrifying. Yeah. Lights out. My random prediction is off court. I think no matter what the outcome, at some point we're going to see Reggie Miller with tears streaming down his face.
Will he be wearing another Reggie Miller jersey? Or do you think he stretches
Tucked
it out?
In.
Who's really bummed me out when they show occasionally on the sideline? Rick Smits. It looks like he has gone through some tough times, dude. Oh, when they first showed him, I thought it was like a 7'5" homeless man. And I was like, that's an incredible program they have that they're bringing in homeless people to sit like courtside. And then I was like, oh, fuck. They had his name underneath. I was like, oh, my God, that is Rick Smits. And it made me feel terrible. It bummed me right the fuck out.
That is an interesting idea. Why don't they have more of these programs? I feel like random, sad podcasters living up in the hills deserve to have courtside games thrown their way sometimes too. Just,
I'm down.
Throwing out ideas.
People suffering from the PTSD that happens when you see snow in June should be allowed to attend these games from a really up close and personal fucking setting.
That's right.
All right, Tex 1.5. You take the over or the under?
Ooh, I take the over.
Yeah, you think it gets any prediction as to who?
Well, it's interesting how much that Mark Daigneault he's like tried very hard to not get a tech, and I think he's supposed to be this sort of even-keeled guy. I think if there's any time to unveil it as a weapon, it's in a game 7 with everything on the line. Maybe he needs to juice something up after the Pacers go on a run or something like that. So I'm gonna give one to Mark Daigneault, and we'll see how I do.
If I was Chet Holmgren or really any player of significance on OKC, I would take Daigneault to the side and ask him from the bottom of my heart, please do not wear a turtleneck to game 7. It's like, wear fucking anything else, dude. I don't care what it is. You can wear a tank top, wear a hat, like anything. Just don't wear that fucking turtleneck because it makes you look like an asshole. And it just distracts me on a minute by minute basis.
You know what?
I'm going to take the under.
Yo, go ahead.
I'll take the under on Tex. It hasn't been as heated of a series as I'd like. And they seem to just be letting them go. Even when it does get physical, they seem to be allowing them to go as chippy as they want. So I'll take the under.
Right. Yeah. You know what? That's a better outcome. I think I've mentioned before that I'm in a little betting league with some of my friends that's entirely based on we've drafted teams for who gets techs. Throughout, we call it the Naughty Boys playoffs. So I'm pretty dialed in, and I want the over. That's right. That's me speaking with my heart. But I think in general, like, it's a good thing, right? If we get the under, it's just that means better basketball. That means less stoppages, and just a better on-court product.
Did you come up with the title Naughty Boys?
I wish.
Because it's terrible.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's terrible.
You're the worst. I
sure
hate you.
That's
fantastic.
That is a fucking terrible title. Just so you know, another follow-up I forgot to ask. If you could go to a game 7 but opposing arena. Would you go like big loud? You know, like if you happen to be you are a gigantic indie fan, you are one of the 6 people we can see on screen. Would you, like fuck it, scream the entire time, be as obnoxious as you possibly could, draw attention? Or do you go more play it cool? Like you're there, you clap, it's not like you keep your fandom to yourself, but you're also not bringing as much attention to yourself.
Okay, there's a lot of layers that we got to break down in this question. First of all, you're mentioning, am I going to be seen on screen? Then it kind of does, it makes a difference. And it's not about me personally, it's about what I'm representing. You know, so if I'm up in the upper bowl or something, maybe I'm playing it a little bit more cool. Also, because that's where the real fans are and shit can get weird. Yeah. But if I'm down by the court, people are going to be pretty cordial in general. And so, and then I'm going to be loud and proud and make a lot of noise. Because I think that's important. I think there is something to the camera seeing those people and feeling that energy and feeling like, oh, this is a real game. So the other thing is that like, I actually really don't want to get in confrontations. And like when I'm trying to enjoy a basketball game like that, I'm trying to like pay attention to the game, and somebody yelling at me is going to distract me, because then I'm trying to figure out how to come back at them, which is going to take me from the thing that I'm there to do in the first place. So I'm really not trying to get involved like that. It's so much more fun. I mean, I've never been to an opposing arena, for my own team. So I can't know, but it's just so much more fun to be like, ganging up on the one guy that's in the Houston Rockets jersey, because then we're all sort of bantering with one another. I can't hang one-on-one. I'm not good at that.
If I could press a button before I went in and made it so that there would not be conflict, we just enjoy it. I'm just like being able to focus without worrying about everything around me. I would press that button in a heartbeat. But knowing that the conflict's going to find you regardless, like if I'm wearing a bunch of Warrior gear and it's a fucking game 7 and they see me in there, you're not going to avoid conflict. People are going to be on top of you regardless. And so at that point, you might as well go all the way in. And would I be able to come up with like nasty shit to say? Yes. Yes, I would be very effective, I think, in that setting. Over under, Maxime, 215 for the game. That's the actual line. What do you take?
I take, oh my gosh. Initially I was going to take the over, right? Game 7, things get spicy, things get exciting. We were just talking about Shea getting over 32 points, and yet these teams are both known for their defensive prowess. OKC the entire time. Pacers have been coming on strong the farther the postseason goes. I could actually see this being kind of a low-scoring bruiser of a Game 7 finals game, because as every coach pulls out all of the stops, all of those stops are going to stop. Right? They're going to slow things down. Caitlin Cooper was talking about how in Game 6, one of the things that the Pacers did to great effect was to slow down the amount of backcourt press that they were putting on Oklahoma City. You're going to see more stuff like that. Obviously, that in that case speeds things up a little bit. But when constantly teams are trying to figure out what other teams are doing, there's going to be less free-flowing offense. And so for that reason, I take the under.
Yeah. Everything you just said makes sense to me. Also, I would dump on the over. I think that both teams are flying through this game. I'm surprised this number is as low as it is. The elite nature of both defenses explains it. But the pace from both these teams, both these guys are going to be pushing. So I take the over. I've got a scenario that I need your opinion on. But first, the most important question. The line itself is 7.5. All right. So the Pacers are getting 7.5 tomorrow. If you had to bet something significant to you, how would you bet?
So wait a minute. What do you mean getting 7.5?
They're minus 7.5.
Oh, okay.
If the Pacers lose by 6, but I bet that line, I still win money.
Yeah. Oh man, like the superstition in me wants to say, okay, well, I want the Pacers to win, so I bet. I guess what is that? The over.
You take the points is what you would say there.
Yeah.
You take the Pacers plus the points.
Okay, there you go. But no, I don't think so. I think it ends up with OKC in a double-digit win.
Hey, I always like when we disagree. I would take the Pacers plus the points.
Hey!
I think that OKC wins it, and I'm not that happy about that. But I think it's going to be a close game, which is really all I really want out of this Game 7. Sure. So if I had to bet something big, I would bet it on Indiana. All right, our scenario. So I told you, I'm in Tahoe. We've been here for the week. Love this trip. The only thing that makes coming up here in June a little complicated is if the finals are being played. because on one side, I have to pretend like I have no interest in the games. I'm just want to spend time with my family. But on the other side, like if we can end up in a restaurant when the games are being played, dope. Like I'm not trying to specifically steer the day towards that, but if it happens, it happens. And it just so happened to play out on Thursday. We were in Truckee. We went into this, I don't know, I won't say high end, but nice enough Mexican spot. And they happened to be playing the game. So it's not a sports bar. It's like a sit down tablecloth kind of place. And they had one TV. The game was up and running. It's the second quarter. And I'm super happy because fuck, dude, the game's on. And so we sit. I pull the move where I kind of sheepishly sit on the side of the table that's going to allow me to watch. Erica doesn't say anything. It's all coming out fucking fine, Maxie. And we're there for maybe 5-6 minutes. And I see somebody else sit down, call the waiter over, talk to them. The person, waiter nods. They go over and they turn off the TV. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so when they come over to ask for our order again, I asked them, well, what's up with the game? And the guy said, oh, that gentleman over there is taping the game at home and has asked us to turn it off here so that it is not ruined, so that it can still have it. So, Maxime, socially acceptable? Because I will tell you that, like, this is easy. This is a sports bar. Can he come in here and do that? No, of course not. Fuck no. There's 100 people there to watch the game specific. And if this was like a Michelin star restaurant, and there's just for whatever reason happened to be a TV on the wall, could he go in and ask him to turn it on? No. Again, very simple, but this one was a little bit fucking in between. There weren't people around it. He couldn't necessarily tell that I was watching, and this isn't a sports bar. So before I tell you how I lost my mind, what's the right thing, dude? Like, is it socially acceptable or what?
Well, you made my blood boil, and then you gave me all of the reasons, and I thought about it, and I returned to my rational mind, and I was like, oh, this is kind of an interesting problem, but no, I'm back to my blood being boiled. I think that's fucked. I think it's not okay, especially in the NBA Finals, right? Like, if you are tape delaying a game, and I mean, this happens actually all the time. I have a big family thread. A lot of people with sports allegiances throughout the greater Bay Area. I have people in Sacramento, so we had Kings fans on there or whatever, right? When things go down, there is an assumption that if you don't want to know what's happening, you mute the thread because people are talking shit. That's just the way it goes. It's your responsibility personally to figure out a way. I mean, it sounds like the sound wasn't on the game. Is that right?
That's right.
So I don't know how the geometry of tables work in general, but it sounds like at this Mexican restaurant, you chose a side that could see the TV screen. Could he not have chosen a side that does not see the TV screen? I think it's just completely absurd, and I think it's generally unfair because, like you said, he didn't know if you were watching. He doesn't know if anybody else was watching. That is one person affecting the experience for theoretically everybody else in that restaurant. That's unacceptable.
We are on the exact same page, Maxime. So I don't know if this was classy or douchey or like aggressive or passive aggressive. I honestly don't even know how to characterize this response, but I bought them a beer I sent a beer over to the other table with the polite suggestion that he sits on the other side because the TV is definitely going back on. And it played out fine. He went over there, he even gave me one of these, like that kind of thing. I saw a couple of troubled walks to the bathroom where he had to walk with his back to the television. I think that was more theatrical for me than anybody else. Like he was walking like fucking Mr. Bean. It's like, settle down, dude. Like just fucking look down to the ground. Like I don't need this huge fucking performance, but yeah, it was what it was. And we got to watch the entire game. It was great. I may or may not have clapped loudly a couple of times, which was aggressive and not on purpose. If I'm being honest, it was more like instinctual. It wasn't like a fuck you to that guy, but yeah, there you go. There was my Trekkie Game 6 experience.
That's such a good move. Buying him the beer. Shit.
I think good, right?
Yeah, that's nice. That's classy. I think you also surprised a lot of the audience with that one because like, well, shit, Bram has some classy moves up his sleeve.
I kept asking Erica, like, what should we do here? It's like, what's the right move? She's like, I don't care, dude. It's like, I don't care. It's like, can we just fucking go back to this vacation? It's like, I preferred when the game was. I was like, no. You don't understand. He's like, he shouldn't be allowed to do this. And I think this is going to be right in his face. It's good times.
Yeah, whereas you might have been surprising the audience by some character quirks, Erica is consistent in that every single time she comes up on the show, she does not care.
Anyway, can we just please stop talking about either basketball or your weirdo social neurosis? There's got to be like a third topic that we can somehow hit. But meanwhile, we've been fucking married for I don't know how many decades, and nope, turns out those are the only two topics I have to. But they're good times. All right, get back to your day, everybody. I'll go back to this snowstorm. Huge Game 7 tomorrow. I'm excited to see how it plays out, and with that in mind, you guys will hear from us. We will still be recording regularly. We still genuinely appreciate and welcome your Patreon support. Please get out there, help us out. Go to Patreon, look up Where's Huddle. You'll see where we're at almost immediately. Maxime is still doing amazing things on YouTube, and we are also up on various social media, with Twitter being the main form. That in mind, go Warriors. Hopefully, we'll see you real soon.